Tonight, from the end zone to the fan zone and all seats in between, this is your home for the local sporting update, featuring the voice of the Bradford High School Tornadoes. Welcome to On the Spot Sport News with your host, David Rodgers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I'm your host, David Rodgers, along with Michael Heater, sitting in for Mitchell Gunner and Byron Bagwell. Great to have you along on this beautiful Saturday night. Tonight's show is brought to you by Miracle Automotive and Recovery in both Stark and McClenny. Call Kirk and Kenny Miracle at 904-368-1114. Miracle Automotive, where miracles happen every day.
There you go.
Let's get the show started as we always do with our prayer, our pledge, and a couple of great patriotic quotes of the week, Mike. Tonight is the 20th anniversary of 9/11. We've all been talking about it this whole past week. We talked about it last night, and we talked about it today. And I'm going to tell you right now, that was great what Bradford High School did last night.
Yeah, it was. It was fantastic. A very moving tribute, including the fireworks at halftime.
Wow.
We'll talk more about that and what happened at the high school today in conjunction with a lot of activities all around the country.
And that's exactly right. But let's start off our show as we always do with our prayer. Everybody please bow their heads. Our righteous Heavenly Father, let us once thank again for a wonderful and glorious day you've given us, dear Lord. Thank you for this time that you have given us as this brotherhood, the on-the-spot brotherhood, dear Lord. Even the ones that couldn't be here tonight, dear Lord. Byron and Mitchell and Austin and the rest of the crew that couldn't be here. Bless those guys as they're doing the things that they need to be doing, dear Lord, and that you can bring them back and reunite with us next Tuesday night. Again, thank you for a beautiful and wonderful and glorious day. Thank you again for letting us live in the greatest country in the world today, the United States of America. It's bar none, dear Lord, the most freest and most powerful nation in the world today. Keep your hand over us, dear Lord. Put your hand over us. Touch us, dear Lord, and make us see the light. Make us unite, dear Lord, when we are united, we are the strongest, dear Lord. So thank you again for that. Thank you for our military, the greatest military in the world today, dear Lord, the United States of America's military forces. Each and every branch, dear Lord. Everyone that has served in the past and is serving now. The ones that's given the ultimate sacrifice, dear Lord, their lives and their blood for this great country that we call the United States of America. Keep a hedge of protection over those young men and women, dear Lord, and bring them back safely to their families. Thank you also for the first responders of this nation, dear Lord. Fire, police, ambulance, paramedics, anyone that's involved in that fear, dear Lord, that you bless each and every one of them. As we are on the 20th anniversary of 9/11, dear Lord, that was a touching moment for each and every one of us that remembered that. Also, the more than 3,000 people, dear Lord, that died that day, dear Lord, that you got them on your right hand, dear Lord, each and every one of them. And they're looking down on us going, dear Lord, please touch that nation and not let this ever happen again. But again, those first responders and everybody in that field, keep blessing those guys. They are the backbone of this country. They keep us safe and sound each and every night as we are at our homes and at our residence and other things that we're doing, dear Lord. Any spoken or unspoken prayer requests, dear Lord, that you touch each and every one of them. The COVID thing, dear Lord, that's going around. Touch each and every one of those families, each and every one of those that is going through that dreaded disease, dear Lord. Touch those people and make them well and heal them all again. Thank you for the food that we receive each and every day, that it goes into the nourishment of our bodies and our bodies to thy service. Thank you again for just giving us another breath of life and just let us get through the rest of this weekend and another beautiful week. We ask for these things in your Son's name, Jesus Christ, and the congregation says,
Amen.
Amen. All right. We're going to stand here, and I'm going to ask Mr. Michael Heater to lead us.
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. All right. Welcome in to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I am your host, David Rodgers, right alongside Michael Heater. Missing tonight is Byron Bagwell. Michael Heater here in just a few minutes is going to tell you why Mr. Bagwell is probably missing.
Absolutely.
Mr. Mitchell Gunner is actually racing tonight, so he's going to be calling in, probably giving us a status of what's going on there.
So.
I did not hear from Austin Stevens. Do you know if Austin maybe just had a couple of things going on, Mike?
Not sure. I know he had a lot of stuff going on this weekend.
Okay.
So I suspect he is probably... And most likely he is probably monitoring the same thing I am, which is little activity in the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh.
So we'll talk about that when we get into our weather in just a few minutes.
Well, that sounds great. And I tell you, again, this is a special show that we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. If you follow our show and know exactly what we do, we try to bring you a show each and every Tuesday night that starts at 7 p.m. Also, we've scaled back on the weekend shows, so we try to give you one, at least one Saturday a month, maybe every other Saturday, due to tornado football on Friday nights. That's why we got away from the Fridays. But tonight was a very special night. Yes, it is a sports show, but we're going to give a tribute, Mike, back to 9/11, 20 years ago, with that horrific scene that happened in New York City. Also Flight 93, and the hit on the Pentagon as well. We're going to relive all that, and I want to ask y'all a couple of questions about that, and just get your opinion on a couple of things. I do have a couple of quotes, Mike.
Okay.
I'm going to test you and Dave and our audience as well.
Well, that's good, because I actually have one myself.
Do you? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what.
We'll see if we're paying attention. You go first, and then we'll go ahead and we'll play off and see how things go from there.
All right, let's do this. All right. If we learn nothing else from this tragedy, we learn that life is short and there is no time for hate. I can tell you that this lady is a survivor of 9/11, but she actually wasn't in 9/11. Her husband was. Now, that could be a couple of different things right there. So...
Yeah.
Yep. Dave, anybody got a guess?
I'm not.
This one is sort of tough because it could have been a couple of them. It could have been Mr. Beamer's wife.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Todd
Beamer came to mind, but I didn't think that was who it was.
No. So that was Sandy Dahl, wife of Flight 93 pilot Jason Dahl.
Wow.
How about that, Dave? So if we learn nothing else from this tragedy, we learn that life is short and there is no time for hate. Sandy Dahl said that. All right, this is more of a famous person around that time frame. Really love this guy. You can be sure that the American spirit will prevail over this tragedy. Famous general around that time. If I tell you what his job was, you're going to snap right at it. So I can't tell you what his job was.
Hold on. Colin Powell.
Nice guess.
That was who I had in mind.
Really? Okay. Guess what? You two gentlemen are exactly right. That was Colin Powell.
All right.
All right. What do you have?
All right. So another quote that kind of ties in what we have here.
Okay.
Time is passing. Yet for the United States of America, there will be no forgetting September the 11th. We will remember every rescuer who died in honor. We will remember every family that lives in grief. And we will remember the fire and the ash, the last phone calls, and the funerals for the children.
Who said that? Wow.
I will take a stab.
Okay, I was gonna say
I'll take a stab. I'll let you go first.
I'll throw you a bone. It was a former president.
Then I'm gonna say Bush.
That was going to be one of my guesses.
Okay.
But I'm thinking Obama is another guess.
Okay. You're actually President George Bush.
I'll be daggone. Okay. Yep. So. Look at there. So We've got several people on, but we'll get to y'all here in just a few minutes. Glad that y'all were able to join us. Again, give a shout out to Slice and Dice, Chris Davis.
Guess what I did on Friday?
Don't even tell me.
Oh, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you something.
Don't even tell me.
I did not think that there was a better burger than at Slice and Dice. And I'll have you know, I was proven wrong.
What?
Yes. I have found a better burger than the burger at Slice and Dice.
Wow. But it is at Slice and Dice.
It's the bacon burger.
Yeah, Slice and Dice. Yeah, the bacon burger.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
They use thick cut bacon. It comes from the same source that they do all their barbecue. I'm telling you what. And on garlic bread, no less.
You guys are killing me. I can't wait to get my dental surgery done.
Oh, I know. I was just
indeed.
sorry about that, Dave. What time did you eat over there? What time did you go over?
We got there about 11:45.
About 11:45. So you had lunch there. Then.
Yeah, we always have lunch there on Fridays. That's our go-to. That's our go-to on Fridays. Yes.
Okay. Well, shout out to Slice and Dice, Chris Davis and Casey Napier, owner of that establishment.
Yes,
they are on County Road 225. If you're coming in through Lottie, heading out, you just turn left right there by the subway that is owned by, a guy that he knows.
I'm familiar with Mr.
Ray. Yeah, Mr. Ray.
Yeah, and they are open, I think, on Wednesdays.
They are.
But it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
No Sunday, Monday, Tuesday right now, even though he's thinking about maybe going back to at least one of those days. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I called him last night before the football game because he wanted to come to the football game.
Right.
He said, David, I don't know if I can come. I guess when you were there, they were busy, wasn't it?
Oh, it was busy.
Yeah, it was busy. I think everything was pretty full or close to full.
Yeah,
and then he told me, David, dinner flowed right into it.
Oh, no doubt.
He said, David, I don't know if I can go. And I know he didn't go because he texted me and said he wasn't going to be there, that it was really busy. So please go visit Slice and Dice over there in Lottie, Florida.
Good stuff.
Hey, don't go anywhere because the Saturday Night Quick and Dirty starts right now.
Hey Tornado fans, this is Kurt Miracle of Miracle Automotive and Towing, proud sponsors of Tornado Football. I want to welcome you to beautiful Stark, Florida at David Hurst Stadium, and thank you for letting us be a part of this community. We're here for more than your automotive and towing needs. We're here to be part of Tornado Country. Go Big Red!
Here is the quick and dirty for this Saturday night. We begin in Columbia County where one person was killed in a shooting in Lake City last night. Police say it happened at Young's Park. The victim ran to a Florida Highway Patrol trooper who happened to be nearby. The trooper provided first aid and the victim was taken to the hospital where he later died.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Lake City police say they have strong leads in the case, but anyone with any information can call the Lake City Police Department as well. And Mike, you can remain
anonymous.
There you go. A reminder that the Union County will be celebrating its 100th anniversary of Saturday, October 2nd in Lake Butler.
100 years already.
I want to know, before I finish that story, do you think anybody is living there that's 100 years old over there that maybe celebrating this with him?
I would not be surprised. I do know that there are several special activities planned during the event, and I believe one of them has to do with the history of the county.
Okay.
And I suspect that there's possibly that...
maybe they bring somebody out that's 100 years old?
Or at least someone who has some memories of the early days of Union County.
Wow. Yeah. Well, check out the Lake Butler Facebook page for details and look for the Fantastic Fire Brigade to be in attendance as well. Yep. So that's, again, October the 2nd. 2 Saturdays or 3 Saturdays from now?
That would be 2 Saturdays from
2 Saturdays from now.
Three weeks from now.
Yeah, there you go. Life South is pleading for blood donations as their stores reach critically low levels. I'm hearing this nationwide. Yes. Right now, Life South says there's a national shortage of type O and type B blood, and local hospitals are back ordered, and Life South just doesn't have the blood on hand, ladies and gentlemen, to give out. Right. So if you donate blood, you can also receive that COVID-19 antibody test. You can make an appointment, and I guarantee you can get on there quick at lifesouth.org or by calling 1-800-795-2707. Please, if you're able to donate blood, please please donate blood. There is a national shortage, as we just said, and people, hospitals are needing it, and people are needing it too, Mike. And if we can save some lives by doing that, that would be great.
There you go.
Finally, a tropical wave has formed in the southern Gulf of Mexico. And there could be some developments.
That's right.
Here with the latest, as well as our local forecast, is the Dragger Slayer himself, Michael Heater. How about it, Mike?
So basically what it boils down to is that there is an area of disturbed weather down in the southern Gulf of Mexico in the Bay of Campeche. It is causing a little bit of some thunderstorms to build in that area. What we are looking at is a strong possibility of having something brewing in that area. Doesn't look like it's headed this way yet, and we'll talk about that further. But what's more impressing right now is the allergy report. Let me throw some numbers out at you.
Hey, Mr. Bagwell, I hope you're paying attention.
Exactly right, because I'm telling you what, it's not going to get much better. Today we're at 8.4 on a scale of 1 to 12. Tomorrow at an 8. Monday, 8.6. Dropping back down to an 8, and it gets a little bit better as we go through the rest of the week. Why? Because we have some scattered showers and storms that are going to be returning to the forecast. Areas of disturbed weather that's in the Gulf could make its way across the Gulf here. I don't think it's going to form anything tropical storm related, but I think it will increase the moisture as it starts to move into the central Gulf of Mexico, be picked up by some of the trade winds moving across. We're also watching some tropical weather disturbances moving off the Atlantic, across the African coast, coming across the Atlantic. We are getting into the Cape Verde season. Reminder that this week, coming up, is the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season, but we do also have a little bit of a spike in October, so pay attention to us. We'll keep you up to date with the latest as well. Temperatures are seasonal. Look for afternoon scattered showers and thunderstorms. About 30% each day as we go through the next 3 to 4 days. Highs upper 80s, lower 90s, lows in the mid 70s.
Mike, in the Atlantic Basin, do you know how many storms are out there right now, or how many little tropical things are going on out there right now?
So Hurricane Larry has kind of made its way out, and it's kind of on its way out. Now, Hurricane Larry was a massive storm. Actually was broaching Cat 5 category, but it stayed off to the east of Bermuda, and it's of no concern to us. We do have a little bit of a disturbed area in the Bay of Campeche, which is the southern Gulf of Mexico, and there's another tropical wave that's out past the Lesser Antilles. Again, nothing of any concern to us in the short term, and at this point, we're looking pretty good across the entire region for at least the next 3 to 5 days.
Last week, after when we couldn't do the show, I had a question that was proposed to me. I thought they was going to put it on the spot, maybe directed to you or Austin, but I'll go ahead and ask it.
Okay.
And because I don't know. I think I know, but I don't. Okay. So, Mike, when a hurricane or a tropical storm or depression turns off and goes off the Atlantic coast, does it dissipate? What happens to that storm?
So eventually, it can. But here's the funny part about it. Hurricane Larry actually affected Newfoundland in Canada. And, of course, we got some waves, and rip currents were a major concern that we had like that one. Believe it or not, hurricanes that form and then make that curve that you speak of like that eventually bring gale force winds, heavy rain, and very stormy conditions to Ireland, Wales, England, and moving on up into the North Atlantic.
So does the cold weather and the cold waters there back the strength of that hurricane off?
It absolutely does. The whole point of a hurricane's development is the warm water. Think of it like almost think of it like a solar-powered battery is covering the entire area of the Atlantic Ocean. When you get waters above 80 degrees, that warmth is what feeds these storms, and then as the clouds build and they get higher into the atmosphere, it cools. It causes storms to collapse. That movement is what eventually causes rotation, which in turn is what forms these storms. As you get further off into the Atlantic, head into the North Atlantic, and eventually into the areas off the European coastline up by Great Britain and Ireland and places like that one, the water is so cold. You're talking water temperatures in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
They won't stay together. However, you can develop a cold core system that will bring some nasty weather across that areas of England. England is not known for its sunny disposition when it comes to weather. There's always cloudy and nasty and that sort of thing like that. And what this does is this enhances the weather conditions over the North Atlantic and eventually affecting northern European countries going into Scandinavia.
I want to thank Lydia Morris for that question, by the way. Great question, because I didn't know the answer. David, I thought I sort of knew it, and that sort of would have been my guess, but that was broken down perfectly.
Yeah, there you go.
So there you go, Lydia Morris. I hope he answered your question there. All right, let's go. Now, here's your favorite segment that brings back a little history, brought to you by our great media partners. WEAG Eagle Country 106.3 FM, Chuck and Mary Kramer and Lynn Vellis, and, of course, my bosses on Friday nights during tornado football season, and the Bradford County Telegraph. Owner John Miller, John Ryan and Elizabeth Tillman, owner of Sporting Chance, Mark Crawford, editor, and, of course, Cliff Smelly, sports editor, and other things.
That's right.
Here's what's the date. These are the headlines from the Bradford Telegraph during the third week of September. In what year? Samson Lake water debate continues. Sex offender pleads guilty. Jack's employee arrested for DUI.
Really?
And 10 years later. Ooh, that almost sounds like a trivia category for one of us.
It almost does.
It does. Was that September of 2010, September of 2011, or September of 2012?
Kind of maybe throwing a bone on this one.
Maybe a little bone.
Just
Yeah,
a little
let's
one,
see.
maybe.
Samson Lake water debate continues.
Yes.
Sex offender pleads guilty.
Yes.
Jack's employee arrested for DUI. And 10 years later. I wonder what that's all
I
about.
wonder.
September of 2010, Dave. September of 2011 or September of 2012? Let you think about that. I'll read the first one. Mike, you read the second one. I'll read the third one. You read the fourth.
Sounds good.
Residents remain divided following another proposal by the Swanee River Water Management District over controlling water levels on Samson Lake.
That is an ongoing perpetual
issue.
Hey, Reimer Howell Jr., age 59, pled guilty to attempted transportation of child pornography and was subsequently convicted here in Bradford County.
Richard Harding, the communications director and spokesman for Jacksonville Mayor Alvin Brown at the time, was arrested in Hampton for driving under the influence. Listen to this. After leaving a Florida Gators football game, David.
Absolutely.
He wouldn't have had no beverages there, would he have? Why? No way. He's innocent.
Absolutely. And finally, hundreds gathered at Camp Landing to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the attack. Okay.
Samson Lake water debate continues. Sex offender pleads guilty. Jack's employee arrested for DUI. And 10 years later, was that September of 2010, September of 2011, or September of 2012? I see David Michael counting on his fingers. He was counting on his fingers going back for see, man.
Wait, carry the one.
Carry the one. And that's what I'm doing. Do you got it, Dave, now? Do you think?
I think he's got it. I'm pretty sure he's got it.
All right. Well, again, welcome into On the Spot with David Rodgers. Tonight, sitting here alongside the Dragon Slayer Michael Heater. Producing the show back there is Super Dave Holland. Also missing is Byron Bagwell. He may call in, Mike. We gonna have the phone lines open?
We'll have the phone lines wide open.
All right, Mitchell Gunner may be calling in as well. See how he's doing at the races.
Yep.
And Austin Stevens, not with us tonight, may be back on Tuesday. Shirley Bagwell, may God bless our country. Good evening from Wisconsin. Seeing all those pictures, I'm glad that y'all are having a good time and enjoying your vacation in Wisconsin.
I had a feeling they must have been out of town because they were not.
They were not.
At Thursday Night Team Trivia at the Downtown Grill.
Byron Bagwell. Man, we can't get nothing past Byron.
Nope.
He said Powell. Colin Powell.
Yeah, well, of course he did.
Yeah, of course he did. Roy Jackson's watching, and he said Bush too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jim and Eddie, here we go. Dana Bell said Bush.
Okay.
Nice. Or Byron Bagwell goes, he wasn't sure. He thought maybe Rudy Giuliani could have said that too.
And it's interesting because Rudy Giuliani actually, in a quote 2 days after the attack, said something very similar to it, but not the same. So, Byron, you were spot on. It was President Bush, although Giuliani's comments did mirror what the president said.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. That's why he said or. Good deal. Denny Ray Randolph's watching. Denny Ray, you remember when we used to always go up to IHOP? Yeah. This is Rodgers' sister.
Oh, the work
the one that worked at the IHOP, you know, did the
Yes.
cooking and took care of us. So say hello to Denny Ray.
Hey, Denny Ray, how you doing?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has been a while.
Raymond Noah's watching. Randy Scoggins is watching. Donald Stevens is watching. Tammy Testone is on. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Hello, Alvy. Kathy Stearns is on. Renee is on. They blow until they run out of an energy source, i.e. warm water. Very good there, Renee, as she follows up. From Pascagoula, Mississippi, my old classmate. And, or about 13,000 things anyway. She's good to go. I love Renee. Me and Renee was buddy. Hi, Alvin, she says. Joseph Sayers is on. Glenn Steffi Reader Smith is watching. Let's see. Renee Steegalshaw says, I think I can guess this one, she said. She usually doesn't get anything right.
No,
she wants to go with 2011. You want to give her that one?
I think that's a pretty good guess.
Is that a pretty good
I'd
guess?
say that was pretty good.
All right. Roy Jackson says, give me 2011.
I figured as much.
David Theus, which I like David Theus, 2011 he says.
There you go.
Byron Bagwell says, hello, Alvy. Brett Southwell, we'll be getting into this. Brett, I work with him over at New Millennium.
Yep.
He lives in Lake Butler. Congratulations to Lake Butler. They beat that American collegiate team last night 10-6 over in Lake Butler, and he said that was a tough game. We've got them on October the 2nd. They said we better watch out. This team is quick, fast, and loves to hit you. So Lake Butler, and by the way, their quarterback A.J. Cortez, broken collarbone. Out for the season.
I was wondering about that.
Okay, you heard about that?
I heard about it. Didn't know what the severity was.
Yeah.
But he is out for the season.
He is. He broke his collarbone, and there was another kid. That got hurt as well. I don't know the extent of his injury, but they said those boys will hit you. If they had more players, Lake Butler, Wayne Popel told me they may have beaten them. So we're going to be in trouble. We need to keep this thing. We'll talk about that later. Raymond No said 2011. Glenn Steffi Rader said 2011. Tammy Testone says 2010, but I bet she meant to put 2011.
She probably did.
You think so?
I think so.
I think she just mistyped that.
I do believe that would be exactly right.
There you go. Janet Roll is watching. Roy Jackson says, God bless America. Never forget. Amen. Come on with your bad self, Renee said. I wish our reunion was still on the 25th because I'd be coming with my bad self.
There you go.
But that got canceled. So anyway, and Eddie Sigmund's watching. So guys, again, welcome into On the Spot with David Rodgers. I'm your host, David Rodgers, alongside Dave Holland, Mr. Michael Heater, the Mr. Byron Bagwell, and Mitchell Gunner. Hey, great to be here on a Saturday, Mike. Yep. Remembering 2011, 20 years ago. It just fathoms me, Mike, and we'll get into this more, how 20 years went like that.
Oh, it did.
Wow.
It did.
David, what do you think? I mean, look, we're all young men. We feel young. But we're not, and age-wise, we're not young anymore. Think about 20 years ago for you. You was what, mid-30s?
Yeah.
Mid-30s?
Yeah.
About 45.
David? 45? Yeah, about 40 for me.
Yeah.
So, hey, that's just, but it seemed just like that. And it's
at our prime.
Yeah, and here we are. So, but we'll get into that a little bit there. Barbara Zipper from Lake Butler's watching. So,
hold on a second. Mm-hmm. Speak for yourself, sir. I like to think that I'm kind of in my prime now.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Absolutely. Well, and if y'all want to know, hey, here we go. He does have a point, David, because out of the three, he is the youngest guy here tonight.
He's a youngster.
Now,
I appreciate that.
I know you do, but
appreciate
that doesn't necessarily mean he's young. You want to tell everybody your age?
Yeah, I'm a very spry. I'm in my early 50s, 52 actually.
All right, 52. So when Byron and Mitchell are here, he's the middle of the road guy.
Yeah, because they're young.
He's the middle of the road guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
So Mitchell is the youngest. Did y'all know this? Did y'all know how the stair step went? Did you know? Okay, Mitchell is the youngest guy on the show.
Yes.
Believe Mitchell's 46 or 47.
Yeah.
Byron is 50, or 49, will be 50.
50.
And then, well, besides Austin Stevens, I mean, come on, give me a break. Renee Stegall would go, well, what about Austin? Yeah, okay, let's leave Austin out of it. Then it'll go Mike. Mike will be in the middle. Then it'll be myself, and then it'll be you. And we're not that far apart. What are we, 5 years apart?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to say your age, but
I'm 65.
Okay, you're 65. I'm 50, and I'll be 6. So right about 5 years apart.
Which is amazing because he doesn't look a day over 64.
No, he doesn't. You don't look a day over 64, Dave.
Oh, you're talking about me?
Yes, yeah. I look about 74. So there you go. But he didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Byron Bagwell says, "You, sir, speak for yourself."
What?
I was only 23, Byron, Dana Bell said. How about that?
Yeah.
20 years ago. So a lot of people telling their age right here. Was about to say, don't add another year. Byron, it's coming, man. I'm telling you, we just talked about 20 years clicking by, and they did.
That's right.
All right. Everybody's answers in? I hope so.
Yeah.
Here we go. And the answer is, wait for it, what do we got?
Obviously it is.
Obviously, it's 2011.
That's right.
You missed it, didn't you, Dave?
Nah, I was right on. I think one of those answers gave it away.
Which one? Do you remember?
Oh, man.
Was it the 10-year thing? 10 years later?
Anniversary.
Oh, that sort of gave it away. All right, well, everybody's in tonight. Everybody's a winner tonight. So
All right.
throw your name in the hat. By the way, explain what's going to happen next Tuesday.
Okay, so because of last Tuesday being a little bit jumbled up and everything going on, next Tuesday night we will draw the name for the winner for the month of October. Went back and did some counting. We had a lot of correct answers.
I know we did. Do you know how many entries are in there? Just guess.
22 different entries from 13 people. So it's going to be a full fire helmet coming up this Tuesday night.
Golly, man. You know what really gets me is, and again, hey, we don't care how you get the answer. If you can figure out that you can Google it, fine. That's okay with us. I am amazed how many times, I know you stumped them a couple of times. I think there's been 2 or 3 times, Mike, that we gotten 0.
Yes.
But
not
for
lately.
the most part, not lately.
Yeah.
For the most part, 8, 9, 10, 11 people, how many ever people's on the show are getting these answers. And either they know it or something triggers them. But what I'm also impressed with is Vincent Tucker's been in that drawing. He lives in Arizona.
Yeah.
From Mississippi.
That's right.
Z lives in Arizona.
That's right.
Renee, Mississippi.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been several people that lived outside of this that either has taken a great guess,
Which is
possible, or they went, but we don't care. We never put no stipulations on them.
I'm going to go with a great guess.
Okay, there you go. So anyway, it is September 11th, guys, 2011. So thank you for joining us tonight with our special tribute to 9/11. And, of course, we're going to continue on with the show and talk about 9/11. And also we're going to get into some sports here as soon as we get done with our 9/11. I want to recap some top 25 college football scores that Michael will pull up.
Exactly.
Want to talk a little bit about Bradford Tornado football. Great win last night, David. We needed it.
Man, it was a great game. That was a really good game.
Needed that. I know Coach Tomlinson and his staff are definitely proud of the boys. Actually talked to Caleb Dukes. Let me tell this story real quick.
Yeah, talk about it.
So I talked to Caleb Dukes last night, right before the game.
Yep.
Me and Kevin was pulling up, and Caleb said that the 5 years since they've been here, Monday, definitely Monday. I guess they thought about it over the weekend. Monday was the best practice that he has ever seen since he's been here in 5 years.
Wow.
That tells me the resiliency of the boys. They didn't like that beat down.
Yeah.
They won't forget it either. And, hey, you still got a shot to see these guys down the road. Don't give up. You can see them in the
absolutely.
playoffs again.
Absolutely.
You want some revenge? Hey, you keep that in the back of your mind and go out here and punch these guys each and every week in the mouth. Let's go 8-2. You're liable to see Union County again in the playoffs.
Very good.
Very good chance that you will.
Yep.
We may have to play them over there again. That depends we may get them here. And then you can remember that 50-21 shellacking that you got, which was horrible. And, that's over now. Dana Bell says, Byron says, me too. Dana says, I Google. I didn't pay attention in history class. That's great. That's pretty good.
We're not going to go.
We won't go there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. All right. Phone lines are wide open right now. 904-458-7588. 904-458-7588. You can call into the show. talk about anything that you'd like to do or talk about. Dave, do we have the little tripod? Mike may have to put that on the stand. Do we have the little tripod?
Yep.
If you get that for me.
He's got it for us.
All right, so he's going to get that for us. And you can call in. I know Mitchell Gunner is going to try to call in here in just a little bit. Byron Bagwell wants to call in as well, I do believe, if he's feeling up to it. I know he said, I'm in a blanket watching college football. Yeah. Of course, big-time college football. Who doesn't love that? There we go. There's our little triangle. Again, that number is 904-458-7588. And look at Iowa putting it on Iowa State again. My goodness.
I'm telling you
what. You took Iowa, by the way.
I did. I took Iowa. Yeah. It was so funny because I was torn on Ohio State, Oregon.
Yep.
And I was going back and forth, and my gut kept saying, go Oregon, go Oregon, go Oregon. And I ended up going Ohio State just because it's Ohio State.
Well, there you go.
And now I wish I had just listened and gone to Oregon. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. That's okay. That's okay.
It was still an outstanding game. But Iowa was up 27-10 over
with 8 minutes left.
Iowa State. 8 minutes left in the game. That's actually going to be pretty good. I was pleased to see the Gators did very well with that one.
Yep.
Clemson, of course, playing South Carolina State.
Who cares?
That wasn't. Who cares? Two donkeys fighting over a turnip. By the way, in case you're interested, Clemson's up 49-3. That's just throwing that
with
out
14 minutes still left in the game, and Alabama's killing Mercer, which by the way will be a good game at the Swamp next week.
Oh, absolutely.
Alabama comes visiting Florida.
Yep.
That's going to be one of the pick'em games, and I'm interested to see what people pick. I want to see. I'm interested in that. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, we'll see that one.
Byron Bagwell says Texas A&M came back and won, so we preserved a win. Woo! Yes, we did. Colorado was beating them there for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm going to talk about the parity in college football. Michael, it's hard to do pick'ems anymore.
It is.
Because the team that is favored to win and that you think is going to win don't never hardly win anymore.
That's a fact.
Because, and let me tell you what else is helping this year. You remember the COVID year? These players, the fifth-year seniors, can play another year. Now you've got sixth-year seniors. You've got guys that are 24 and 25 on the team, 26 on a team that these guys would normally be gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got a 25, 26-year-old guy smacking an 18-year-old freshman square in the mouth. And plus, they know the system. They know how the game is played.
Absolutely.
You get a bunch of six-year seniors on a team that ain't supposed to be very good, they usually turn out to be pretty good. Why? Because they play as a cohesive unit. True. Yes, Alabama gets all the 5 stars in the world. And Nick Saban is the master of motivating them.
That's true.
And that's why Alabama can come out and smack people in the mouth. But you take a team like, Notre Dame got a fit from Toledo today.
Absolutely.
They just barely won that game. 32-29.
Yep.
Toledo scored late on them, and then Notre Dame had to come back and score again to win that game.
Yeah.
Toledo, full of 5th and 6th-year seniors.
Absolutely.
So there you go. On any given Saturday, anything can happen. So if you think that Alabama's going to roll into the Swamp this weekend and just annihilate Florida, they may. But I can tell you what, I would not stake my house on it.
No.
Because you don't ever know what is going to happen. Yep. But I am going to tell you this, Dave. Byron told me to tell you something. He said, David, I ain't picking those worthless nuts again, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yeah,
me either.
I should have gone with my gut. I wanted Oregon, and I just decided, no, it's Ohio State, and
on our pick'ems, 2 people picked Oregon. Do you know who one of them was? Roger Cruz was one. Wow. Yep, and Chris Davis was the other.
Yeah.
Wow.
Everybody else took Ohio State, so that's a loss. But anyway, we'll talk about that. Renee, what is it taking you? 45, 42, 43 years? Dude, I've got a long way to catch up with you after all the teasing I had to put up with out of you in band hall at Calmer Junior High School. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, just keep them coming, love.
That's exactly
that's it. So, hey, do we have any calls yet?
No calls yet.
Okay.
But we are monitoring the thing. Hey,
Bobby gets to say roll tide.
Did you happen to catch the highlights of the Auburn-Alabama State game?
No.
Because there weren't any. They killed them 62-0. It wasn't even a match. It was. I watched that and went, hey, look, they're scoring. Oh, they're scoring again. Oh, there we go again.
Here we go.
2-0.
62. 62-0.
Yeah, 62-0.
All right, here we go. I'm going to,
That's
which
right.
sets up this Auburn versus Penn State game next week. Whiteout up in Happy Valley up there in Penn State. Auburn coming in on a roll. Penn State, I do believe, won today, didn't they?
I believe so. We're going to check here
Yeah,
in just a
we're
second.
going to check. You took Pittsburgh. No, you took Tennessee, right?
I took that.
Yeah, you took Tennessee.
I
Would you win with Pittsburgh?
I
Yeah, anyway.
Well, and here's the
well,
thing.
because of Jeff Foodie, you like Jeff.
Well, no. Actually, the thing about it is that I'm not a fan of Tennessee. However, I support the SEC. So I will. And again,
Yeah, of course you put. Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should.
So I do. I support the SEC on that one. So in that situation, it is what it is.
Dave, if you could for me, I'm not going to let Mike do it, but if you could write you a little note, a reprimand note, that Mitchell Gunner gets a reprimand. He said, "What's that number? 1-904-458-7588. You get a reprimand, Mitchell Gunner."
He knows. He knows. He's messing with you.
Yeah, of course.
He's
904-458-7588. And guess what?
And there he is.
And
right
there's the old devil right now.
Should I hang up on him?
Well, maybe.
No. Oh, fine. All right.
All right.
I guess we'll talk to Mitchell.
Mitchell Gunner!
How's it going, guys? It's
What?
going to be a little loud to try to do this.
Okay. All right, that's all right. What you got cooking over there, brother?
We haven't even got in the first round yet, so
Really? You got weather issues over there or anything?
we had some weather earlier today, some drizzle and stuff on the track, and that kind of just delays everything. So they have to go out there and drive the track, make sure it's safe condition for us to run down. So
Okay. All right, so you're waiting to go into the first round. How was that qualifying round, Mitchell? I know we talked a little bit earlier. You had to go all motor because you didn't have any nitrous today, right?
yes, the car's been pretty consistent on both time runs. So 1360 and some change on the passes. So
Okay.
usually using the nitrous, I'm a second quicker. So, but when you can't get the bottle filled up, that's what you have to do.
Yeah, I understand that.
Understand that, Mitchell. Good, good. Hey, Mitchell, I know it's going to get a little loud, and I know you got to get to that first round. You know, this is the tribute to 9/11. 20 years ago, a horrific scene in 3 different places in our great country. I want to ask you, and you tell our viewing audience, what you were doing that day when you heard about this.
I was working for an electrical contractor at the University of Florida when the first plane was reported that hit the tower. Me and the gentleman that I was working with, we walked into the room there where they had the TV going, watching the replay of the first one, and then had a live scene. And shortly after that, the second plane struck the other tower. So that's what I was doing. I was working there at the University of Florida, and about probably 20 or 30 minutes after that, they evacuated the campus, sent everybody home, and sent all the students back to their dorms. A lot of people might not know, University of Florida has a small nuclear reactor there, and, being so close to Gainesville Airport, they didn't know at that time how many planes were in the air that were going to be used to kill people. So they just evacuated the whole place. Better safe than sorry.
Right.
Yeah, Mitchell, did you think when you first seen the first plane, and I'm going to ask Dave and Michael this too, as well as our viewing audience, when that first plane hit, did you just think that was a mistake, or did you know in your heart that was a terrorist act?
Well, I thought at first maybe there was something scrambled up on the avionics of the aircraft that caused it to hit the tower, the first tower, and but after that second one hit, I told the guy that I was working with, I said, we got a problem. There's something definitely wrong.
Yeah.
So I said, I think we're being attacked, and sure enough, that's what was going on.
And then, of course, you get the reports again of the Pentagon and, of course, Flight 93. I don't know when you came on the show, but we had a couple of quotes from that particular day. Michael had one as well. But I'm glad you're doing okay. I'm glad you're at the track out there. I know that you're trying to get into the top 5 so you can go up. Where is it? Commerce, Georgia? Is that where you're going?
Yes, divisional finals is up in Commerce, Georgia, which is about an hour and 30 minutes away from Atlanta. I don't know why they ever called it Atlanta Dragway, but that's what they called it, even though it was that far away. But I mean, right now. I'm seeking to be able to go, so everything's reserved for me to take off and go that weekend. The motel room's been reserved for about a month. Just trying to think ahead, and we'll have to scramble to try to find a room or a truck or a trailer there at the last minute. But yes, I'm still trying to move up. We got this race and another race on the 25th. Trying to move up in the points a little bit. But before I go, I want to thank Ben Carter putting together that 9/11 memorial at the high school, the stair climb.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
This morning. Hats off to him. It went very well. A lot of people came out to participate, and I'm hoping as years go, that event will actually get bigger. So kudos to him for doing a great job, and would like to thank our Bradford firefighters and EMS, and also the city of Stark that was out there participating. So great effort by everybody to remember those that we lost that day.
And that's exactly right, Mitchell, and I appreciate you bringing that up. And, yeah, me and Michael's going to get into that here in just a little bit. And Dave right now is coming across the screen with some of the pictures that you can see at beautiful Bradford High School and some of the people that participated there. You can see a lot of men and women and children out there, along with the firefighters as well. And we're going to get into that here in just a little bit. Mitchell, before I let you go.
And definitely.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Before I let you go, give us anything that you're thinking about for Tuesday night, because you're going to be here Tuesday night, right?
Yes, I do plan on being there Tuesday night.
All right. Any teasers? Any teasers?
We'll probably talk a little bit about the upcoming county commissioner meeting. They still haven't decided what route they're going to go to try to get funding for the fire and EMS. So that's still a hot topic that's going on, and maybe on the spot can actually be at that county commissioner meeting and air it live. Actually, quite a few of, if not all the commissioners, they really enjoy seeing us when we go to those meetings and air them live like that to keep the public informed.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Mitchell, and I appreciate letting those guys letting us in like that. And that is Thursday night, right?
That is correct.
Thursday night at 6, right?
That is correct.
Thursday night at 6. Dave, we'll talk about that, and we'll see if we can get some live video of that. Mitchell, thanks for calling in, brother. Good luck tonight. We'll see you on Tuesday, and have a great weekend, brother.
All right, y'all too. Now, y'all stay safe.
All right.
All right, man.
Good night, bud.
That was our very own Mitchell Gunner, co-host, and does the local there. What do we call it? The first scoop? Or what's the scoop?
What's the scoop?
What's the scoop?
What's the scoop with Mitchell Gunner?
What's the scoop with Mitchell Gunner? Hey, write me up too, Dave. Reprimand me, because I didn't remember that dadgum part of it. How about that? So reprimand me too. How about that? Anyway, hey, Renee Stegall said, you talking about Auburn? She said, it was more like Auburn versus Miss Lane's kindergarten class. Oh, boy. She's just on a roll. Renee. Yeah, it's ugly. I would like for you to call Renee and tell me what you were doing on 9/11, or any of our viewers. 904-458-7588. Here's your chance right here. Mr. Bagwell, if you feel like calling in, the phone lines are wide open, brother. 904-458. And there, look at there. How about that? Here he is. Hey, the guru on politics, government, history. Hey, he even knows his music, too. It's our very own Under the Weather, Mr. Byron Bagwell.
It is the.
Oh, I forgot the.
Byron Bagwell.
The Byron Bagwell. Welcome in, B.
Good evening, gentlemen. If you make me laugh too hard, I'm going to go into a coughing, sneezing fit tonight. So please refrain. That's all right. Keep up with the jokes. You show is going great tonight. I just wanted to call in and give a little bit about where I was and what I was doing 20 years ago. Not today, or this morning, actually. I actually did not know that 9/11 happened until much later during the day, because I was a band director at Hawthorne Junior Senior High School, and I had my bands playing up until about, I guess it would have been about 10:30, something like that.
Yep.
And I always ran over to the Subway and grabbed some lunch and brought it back to the office. Well, I walked into the office and actually looked up and saw what they had on the TV, and actually asked the secretary what movie she was watching.
Wow, a lot of people said that. Mm-hmm.
And when she said what she said, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Because by that time, of course, both planes had hit. If I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
That is correct.
And this is probably one of the hardest days of my life, trying to explain to the next group of kids that were coming into my classrooms, because they were all in 6th grade, what in the world had gone on.
Right.
It's hard to explain to somebody that's that age why somebody would do something like that.
Yeah.
I really didn't have very many good explanations myself. I was sad. I was angry. I know a whole lot about what went on with 9/11 now. I didn't know a whole lot about what had gone on with the circumstances and how it could have been prevented. But, we lost a lot of American people that day. And it's something that this country never, ever needs to forget. Or the actual people who did it.
Right.
See, that's sort of what we're forgetting now, because we have come to a point in our country where we accept a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some things that are acceptable and some things that are not. We have an issue with that in our country. We think we can make everything and everyone in this world exactly like we are, when you really can't.
Right.
There are some people, and some, I guess, if you want to call religions,
right?
Some of them are just are just going to be perverted, and you're going to end up with a group of people who basically commit holy war on the whole world. And we're seeing that again right now, or we're about to see that again go on right now in what's happened with Afghanistan.
Yeah, the resurgence of the Taliban.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the saddest thing about the whole entire deal, because those people, those people are not going to just let this opportunity go. They're going to build themselves up, and they're going to cooperate with other people like Al Qaeda, which I've already heard used, the name Al Qaeda used, and I had not heard that name used in years.
Yeah.
The last month. Don't be surprised to find that we're going to have Iran back in it.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
I don't want to make that into about Afghanistan right now, but believe it or not, that's part of where Al Qaeda came from in the first place.
Right.
Afghanistan, and if you look at it, it's Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
So we have some issues that we need to work out, because we need to protect this country from anything like 9/11 ever happening again. And I don't see that happening right now, and it makes me really sad to think that we could be exposing ourselves to something like that again because of political correctness.
I agree with you, Byron. Exactly right. Michael's over here shaking his head, and you've really hit it right on the head. And I wish you could be here in studio with us tonight. I know you're a little bit under the weather. I know you probably don't like Michael Heater right now because of the pollen count he gave you. But, buddy, I believe that's what's hitting you.
It's not him that I don't like.
I know. It's the pollen itself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it's the pollen itself, and I thought I'd had this finished with in the spring when all of the oak and the pine were blooming.
Right.
This high of pollen count this time of year, I don't think I've ever heard of before.
Yeah.
Mike, is that sort of high right now? And I agree with it. Me and Byron talked a little bit this morning because that's why I found out he wasn't going to be here. Yeah. And I know a couple of weeks ago, you remember, it was bothering me. Yeah. Is this high? Is this an unusual thing, or does this?
No, it actually is. You got to remember that when we get a lot of rainfall, we have a wet summer, and it's extended. So what ended up happening is that we get a little bit of a dry spell as we move into, other than tropical weather. But we've had a little bit more rainfall than the norm, which if you live in Bradford County, you know. I mean, your mud gets dehydrated every few days, but eventually it comes back.
Right.
So as a result, there's been a lot more growth in plants and the grasses, the weeds. And as a result, we're having more pollen issues this year than you normally would see.
I gotcha. Well, there you go, Byron. There's the answer to that. Hey, brother, a couple of more things. Quickly, I know that you've been watching a lot of college football. What do you think about the games today so far?
I thought that Texas A&M Colorado game was an excellent defensive game.
Yeah.
If you wanted to see old school smack you in the mouth type football, that was a great game to watch, and the way they came back was pretty magical by a certain player on the Texas A&M team by the name of Spiller.
Oh yeah, I know that name. I know who he's related to.
Yeah,
I do too. He pretty much did everything. He was playing a little bit of fullback. He was catching balls out of the backfield, and he was running. The running game wasn't as effective today for him, but he sure did help in a lot of other ways, and he actually ended up catching the winning touchdown in the end zone.
Nice.
So kudos to Colorado. I did not think Colorado was that good, but if that team plays defense like that, they're going to be really good. And I was shocked. I really was shocked that Oregon was able to do what they were able to do.
We were just talking about that. Gosh, I didn't pick it.
David, I thought that they could probably hang in with Ohio State for a little while.
Right.
But their offensive line just absolutely physically dominated Ohio State's defense.
Yes.
And I'm beginning to really wonder. Because I can't imagine that Oregon is that good. I'm beginning to wonder if Ohio State's just really overrated because they're who they are. Because I'm telling you, they play in Alabama.
Yeah, that's over.
300 yards on them.
And you know what, Byron? Oregon did that without their all-American linebacker, all-world everything, Kelvin Thibodeau.
That's true.
He was out.
Yeah, well, there was their best offensive or defensive lineman was out too, wasn't he?
Well, that's Thibodeau. Yeah, he plays linebacker. He plays that Jack and Mike linebacker, and then he comes up to the line of scrimmage. So Thibodeau was out. Yeah. And they did that without him.
I hate to say that because Dave's an Ohio State fan, but man, I think Ohio State's in for a hard road if they play a really physical team that runs the ball really well.
Mm-hmm. Mike,
some of them in their division.
I'm sorry, B. I just had to throw this up because I heard this all week. We were talking about 5th and 6th year seniors, and you heard me and Mike and Dave talk about that to our audience. This is another team right here that I thought Miami was going to have a problem with. Tell them what the score is right there in the first quarter, Mike.
Folks, we're coming toward the end of the first quarter where Miami And
App
Appalachian
State,
State are tied 7 apiece as we're about to go into the first break and headed into the second quarter.
Teams like that are giving teams fit. We just talked about Notre Dame and Toledo. I know you watched a little bit about that, Byron.
Hang on just a second. For those of you that aren't paying attention to that, just so you know, Miami just got a safety on Appalachian State. So now Miami is going to take the ball. And a
9-7 lead.
Yeah, and so now Miami's up 9-7 with just under 30 seconds to play in the first quarter.
So
there
you
you
see,
go.
These games are close.
Miami's, yeah. You know,
anyway, I just wanted to throw that to you. Like, again, Notre Dame, everything they can handle from Toledo today. A lot of college football. B, I'm not going to hold you too long. I know you're not feeling well. Give us a little teaser that you may give us for Tuesday if you're feeling good.
Well, the big question for the day and for Tuesday night is going to be a real simple one. It's one that our founding fathers hit on some, and I'm going to do a little bit of research to make sure that I know which one I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure I already know this. But the question of Tuesday night is going to be, is freedom and democracy meant for everybody throughout the world?
Nice question. Great deal. Great lead up there. So, absolutely, Byron. Sounds great, brother. Hey, look, man, I'm going to let you go. I know you're going to watch Jacksonville State and Florida State, and you're going to be bouncing back and forth. We're going to try to wrap up the show here in just a few minutes, and we're going to all go back and watch it too. But, brother, I hope you feel better. Stay inside. Keep away from that pollen. We love you, and I hope to see you on Tuesday.
There you go.
Love y'all too, brothers. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy the football game. I'm going to go back and find the couch.
All right, B. Take care, man.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was our very own Byron Bagwell. As you heard, got a little something for us on Tuesday.
Yes, he did.
Is freedom for everybody in the world today. Well,
it's a good question.
Byron, I guess we'll answer that. Let me just read something Renee Stegall said. Sure. The company I worked for on 9/11 had its home office on a lower floor of the South Tower. Okay. They had already gone through an evacuation drill in 93 when that happened. Remember the bottom part of that?
That's correct.
When terrorists tried to bomb from the below in the parking garage. So their evac drill paid off, and everyone got out. I was on Naval Station Pascagoula at work, and we watched coverage from the Lieutenant Commander's office. Not long after that, they closed the base, and they all went home to grieve. So there you go. Anthony Black's watching. Renee said lots of rain leads to mold and mildew issues, which also kick up allergies.
That's true, too. That is true.
Lee Rowenbotham, he owns Bayway Cleaning Services. He's the guy that cleans our offices over in Lake City. Mm-hmm. Got a lot of accounts over there. If you ever need your carpets cleaned or your home, really cleaned up, let me know. We need to call this man. He does a great job.
Excellent.
Let's see. To answer Byron's question, Renee says, it's only meant for those who are willing to defend and protect it. Nice answer.
Great answer.
And J.J. Thompson's watching. So, all right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in On the Spot with David Rodgers. We've had a great show so far. Dave Holland's in the studio with us. Here's the Dragon Slayer, Michael Heater. We're going to give you another weather report before we get out of here. Byron Bagwell, just heard him on the phone. Mitchell Gunner out at the racetrack. Austin Stevens hopefully will be here with us on Tuesday. We will see. Actually, Mike, he was on. I see. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, so he was on. Oh, wait a minute. What is this? Holy mess. Here we go. Not sure, Mike, what this is all about. It's a little too long to read. How about there were some things in there I don't really want to say over the show.
Well, then I guess we'll just kind of hash it out after the show.
Yeah, there you go. We'll hash it out after the show.
There you go.
All right, Dave, I'm going to start with you. 9/11, 20 years ago.
Wow.
We talk about age and talk about different teams and things and how time clicks. Where were you at? What were you doing? And do you remember this vividly?
I got up, fixed me a cup of coffee, turned TV on. I saw this tower inferno. I thought maybe I was watching a movie until the news, the second one came, and bam. But this is how close this was to me. my niece was living in New York, and she had an appointment at Tower 2 on the 53rd floor that morning.
Oh my gosh.
And she went out the night before, got a little tipsy, didn't make the meeting. So that's close to home to me.
Sure.
Right. So did you? So I'm assuming you tuned in all day, getting the reports and different things like that.
Didn't open up the shop. I turned on my VHS recorder,
Right.
and started recording everything. I called my mom, and I'm telling my mom, you watching TV? The towers, or somebody's flown into the towers. And she's like, no, it's not the towers, it's the Pentagon. And I haven't even seen the Pentagon yet. I'm like, no, Mom, it's the towers.
Yeah.
And then everything just
Kind of
went crazy.
Crazy, right. And then you heard about Flight 93 and then so
93,
forth.
and then, jets up there going to shoot planes down if anybody
Yeah.
flying. It was really scary.
Yeah.
Felt invaded.
Well, let me ask something. How did you feel personally?
I felt like we were being invaded.
Yeah. So, was you scared? Let me ask something. Was you scared?
I was on alert.
Okay. That's good game.
I was on alert. I wasn't scared, but I was on alert.
I got you.
Good answer.
Like Vietnam.
Right.
When I'm on my ship, we're in a war zone,
Yep.
and we're gearing up our weapons and ready to fight.
Right.
That's where my head was.
Good answer. All right. Hey, nice recollection. All right, Mike, I'm going to give you a little time here.
Right.
I see that you're wearing this nice shirt. Nice shirt. And you can talk about the patch and everything that's on it.
Sure.
But for you, where was you at? What was you doing? And sort of tie that in to the firefighters and what was going on today and some of the different things.
So, 20 years ago this morning, I was sitting in my office. I had been had been promoted a couple of years before and was working in the administration offices at Gainesville Fire Rescue. And actually, my TV was off. I was actually trying to work on some, I forget, lesson plans or something. I was doing busy work. And my cell phone rang and my office phone rang almost simultaneously. And I looked and I recognized the office number. I did not, or it was a local number, and I didn't recognize the cell phone number. So if I don't recognize the number, usually I just kind of
Sort of blow it off. Okay, I got
So
you.
I grabbed the phone like that, answered it, and it was a buddy of mine he's like, you need to be watching TV right now. You need to watch right now. And I had a digital pager.
Right.
And it went off, and I'm like, what? No,
Wow.
and so I was like, so I reached over, clicked on the TV, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, holy crap. I get up out of my chair. I walk down the hall to the office of the deputy fire chief for the city of Gainesville, which was Bill Northcutt, which, by the way, I think he's in Nevada, Wyoming. He's on vacation. They're doing his thing like that. Or not vacation, he's retired. But anyway, and I looked at him, and I said, you're not going to believe this, but apparently a plane just flew into the tower. And he looked me in the eye, and he goes, we are under attack. And I looked
After that first plane hit.
yeah, he instant. And I looked at him, I'm like, what? What? And I thought the same thing. You know, we had a mechanical failure. There was something going on like that. And by this point, word had kind of gotten around. People were talking about that one. And we were in the break room, and we went to the break room like that one, and there was a group of us. The fire chief, deputy chief, we all gathered up like that, and we witnessed the second one hit. And we were all kind of stunned silence, and Chief Northcutt goes, told you, and then walked out of the break very nonchalantly. Turns out what he did was he went to go ahead and initiate. We placed our hazmat team on standby for the nuclear reactor that Mitchell was talking about. We immediately locked down the fire stations. We have an emergency protocol for hurricanes and disasters. We immediately went into disaster mode and everything like that one. And then, of course, because of my work with public information, then I was tasked with the fire chief at the time to get the word out and start gathering information about how we were going to deploy resources and everything like that. So it's clear. I mean, I can take you to the room. I can take you to where it is. And then later on, the cell phone number I did not recognize was from New York. So I'm wearing this shirt that I got from George Povey. George Povey is a New York City firefighter. We met when we both worked as firefighters at Daytona International Speedway. I started working there in 98 and 99. George came down a year later. We hit it off and just kind of going back and forth. At the time, George was assigned to ladder 150 and engine 301.
Right.
In Hollis, for those of you that are familiar with New York City, and they call themselves the Hollis Hogs. So we were kind of bantering back and forth. He was off duty.
Right.
And he had just happened to, he called. He was leaving me. He left a message that I got much later on, said, dude, you need to see what's going on, because he was recalled. It was one of the first times, and I think it was like the second or third time in the history of the FDNY that they did a complete department recall. Every firefighter, thousands of them, reporting to work. Brought everybody in. So he spent the next, I think, 3 or 4 days working the pile and everything like that. I still chat on Facebook and everything like that one. But he gave me this shirt. And actually, I'd had this shirt prior to, because we had done a uniform swap. He has got some Florida stuff, and I got this. So I wore this tonight in tribute to the 343 New York City firefighters that lost their lives, and the other 200 plus that have died as a result of cancers and other illnesses related to 9/11.
Good call.
And I wear it like this one because, to be honest, it's a little on the snug side now.
You wouldn't say that.
I was a wee bit thinner back when I first got this.
Of course you are.
But yeah, so it was. So we all do tributes in our own way.
Right.
I'm honored to have this shirt, George's uniform shirt, because I support the firefighters nationwide, worldwide, which is why it was so important to me to see Chief Carter and the city of Stark and the Bradford County firefighters.
Dave, can you bring up some of those pictures as Mike's talking about this, about what happened today over at
the
Bradford
pictures you brought up beforehand?
Right. If you can just scroll through those, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to show you some of the things.
Yeah, you'll look at some of the pictures that are coming up on the screen here in just a second. In addition to that, my department, Gainesville Fire Rescue, teamed up with Alachua County and everyone else at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Of course, now the Gator game was away.
Yeah, it was down in Tampa.
So they did the 9/11 stair climb, and firefighters around the nation have been doing these stair climbs, 110. And for those that don't have stadiums, if you go on social media, you will see them on Stairmasters.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah,
in the full gear. The picture that's on the screen right now, you'll look and see that right there. I believe is Stuart Brandrick.
I think it is Stuart. I think so.
He's a City of Stark firefighter. He's also the lead mechanic for Bradford County.
Yep. Looks like him.
And I believe that is. And he's and you'll see these. They're on Stairmaster, and they're doing this to basically kind of engage themselves in the memory of the fallen firefighters. It means a lot to me. I actually had an event this morning with my business. I wasn't able to participate. I wish had I kind of put stuff together, I would have tried to rearrange it. But that, it is what it is. But this is the Brotherhood of Firefighters that you've heard about, you talk about, you see them out there working, and it meant a lot to me because I've deployed to a number of disasters. I did not go to New York City, although we did have firefighters from Gainesville that did, Lieutenant Cindy Diven being one of them. She and I have been friends for a long time. She actually went to New York City and helped out. But, I've deployed for hurricanes and wildfires and that sort of thing like that one. And it's a consistent bond and uniformity that you have no matter where you are. You can go to London at the fire brigades. You can go to you can go down to Spain with the Boleros, whatever that. The firefighters, they have a common bond because we battle a common enemy, which is fire, and our job is to save lives and property, and that's we take pride in what we do. but we take more pride in the fact that we support each other as a brother and sisterhood.
Right.
And so when we have a disaster, a catastrophe like this that happens, it's comforting to know that, we have your back. And it's not just the firefighters. You had 60 paramedics that lost their lives there. You had 100 and so police officers that were killed. And again, the legacy of this lives on, both in the bad and the good. The bad is that we're still losing people because of the 9/11 related illnesses, the cancers, the carcinomas, and everything like that one. On a positive note, today, on the 20th anniversary, there are 65 New York City firefighters who are the children of firefighters that died on 9/11, and they picked up the mantle, and they are working for the New York City Fire Department and filling the roles of their parents who lost their lives 20 years ago.
Wow, great story, Mike, and absolutely. Isn't it how vivid, as Dave and Michael was explaining, and even Renee, where they were and how visual that is. I mean, when you was telling the story, you and Dave, I could picture myself in y'all spots.
Yeah.
That's how vivid that is. You talk about me doing the football games, how I paint a picture. I'm trying to paint y'all a picture because you can't see what's going on. But those stories were so resonant right there that I could go, you know what? I can see me being Dave Holland, going to get that cup of coffee and going, oh boy, talking about the phones and that beeper. I can visually see myself walking in your guys' shoes.
What is your story?
And I'm gonna get to that one. Yeah. So, but I'm gonna read Renee's story first. She said, "We here in Pascagoula were on alert in case Ingalls was also a target, America's shipyard, which could have easily been. There were previous reports of Middle Eastern people looking at houses on properties along Gaucher's waterfront community that have a very direct line of sight to the shipyard." She said, "That's a very scary thought." Yeah. Wow. Oh, absolutely it is. No doubt about it. Byron says, let me see here. Well, if I can get to it, I don't know what happened here. I just hit something here, Mike. Heck, who knows what the heck I just did there.
We'll find it eventually.
We'll find it eventually here. There we go, right here. Here we go. Byron says the FSU Jacksonville State game is in a weather delay. They must be getting some weather across Tallahassee.
I was going to say, I believe there is here. Let me pull up the radar, and I will tell you instantly what is going on with that.
Byron says the act was an act of war. The reaction was appropriate. Sharon Petterprin says, I was tutoring a 6th grader at the middle school, and when I got to the school, I had to try to explain to her what was going on. How do you explain something, as Byron sort of said too, that you don't even understand yourself? News was still coming in, and the newscasters were as lost as everyone else about what actually happened. Yeah. And she does have a point. All the information, all you're seeing is pictures, all the information wasn't gathered in. You know what I mean? They're trying to gather it in, trying to give it to you as best as they could. Right. So I can see what Sharon is saying. Yeah. Sharon and Mike and Dave. So, Dave, I've known you, 25 years now or so? Yeah. Easy. So I used to work at a place called Owen Joyce, which y'all knew back in the day, which became SMI Joyce, which became CMC Joyce. Now, unfortunately, that company shut down, and it was bought out by the company I'm working for now, New Millennium. But anyway, me and Shelly went into work. Both of us worked the same place. She went down to her area, I went to mine, and no longer got in. It was right about 8 o'clock or so because I worked 8 to 5. Got in there. Got me a soda, favorite thing. I'm not a big coffee drinker. I don't know if you guys are, but I know you said you do. So I got me a Mountain Dew, went back to my office, and the little girl that we used to have up front, her name was Carmen Lee, Spanish. She says, oh my God, in that Spanish deal. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So I come around the corner. My little office was in like a little hallway. Come around the corner, come around the hallway, come to the front desk. She goes, a plane just hit somewhere in New York City, and she was trying. I'm like, what? So I went to the conference room. We turned on the TV. By that time, my general manager, Mark, that used to come in your shop and get his haircut.
Yeah, that was 8:46 when that first plane hit.
Exactly right. So Mark came around there too, and we were standing there, and we seen that hit. Actually, the replay of it hit. We didn't see it hit. It had already hit. So we seen the replay of it hit, but we seen the second one hit.
903.
903. And we was like, oh my gosh, we hadn't moved. Actually, we had a long conference table like this one here, and we sat down because I was like, oh my God, man, you're stunned.
Shocked.
You're shocked. And me and him looked at each other, and he told me, he says, after the second one hit, your boss man was right on it.
He was.
But after the second hit, he said, we're under attack. Yep. He said, this is a perpetuated terrorist attack. And so, then, we're sitting there watching, and of course, news feeds are coming in. Then all of a sudden, you hear about the Pentagon and Flight 93. Mm-hmm. What time did Flight 90? Do you remember what time Flight 93 hit?
I can look it up here. Was
it the Pentagon, then Flight 93?
I will tell you in just a moment.
Flight 93 was the last one to crash.
To
and
crash.
I think that was
that was headed toward, people think, and I know that was headed toward the White House.
Yeah. Right, that's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying.
And that was...
Right, the Pentagon was hit at 9:37. And then 20 minutes later is when the South Tower collapsed.
Okay. So at 9:37.
At 9:37, the Pentagon was hit.
It was hit, okay.
20 minutes later is when the South Tower collapsed.
Okay.
Then Flight 93 crashed in Shanksville.
That's right, PA.
That was at 10:07, and then 20 minutes after that is when the North Tower collapsed.
Correct.
So it goes 9:03, 9:37, 9:59, 10:07, and then 10:28.
Within an hour and a half,
yeah.
Hour and a half.
all this stuff has happened.
Correct.
Major events that 20 years later we are trying to recollect, and remembrance of all these people that gave the ultimate sacrifice, like Michael was saying. Those police officers, those paramedics, the firefighters, anybody that was in that building that day could have easily been your niece. You probably thank God every day that she tied one on. Let me just put it down.
Yeah.
Went out and she didn't make her appointment.
Mm-hmm. Well, her job is she was an elevator repair person.
Oh my goodness! Oh, so there you go.
She would have been in the elevator.
Oh yeah,
chambers.
Chambers. Yeah. So she called out sick. Or she called out.
She didn't make it there.
She didn't make it that day. She didn't make it to that time. So,
and by the time all this started, nobody was going to work anyway.
That's true.
Right, which is true. So, but anyway, I remember that vividly. We sat down and watched TV all day. That's what
I was going to say, how did operations go after that?
Good. We didn't shut down, but you could just see her. The people that worked in the shop didn't get a chance to see all this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we're relaying information. It was just sort of solemn. Yes, you know what I mean?
Very.
But I didn't do no work. Mark didn't do no work. A lot of us sat there at this conference table and was watching the television set, just amazed of what happened here in this beautiful country, and thinking and talking how, man, this would never happen on American soil. This would never happen on American soil, but it did.
I wanted to go to New York and help out, do something.
Me too. That's what I wanted to do.
Something.
I wanted to sling rocks, do something. Yeah. And I know Mike said that he didn't get a chance to go. I know you've been on other disasters and other things like that. But I'm sure if they'd have said, Mike, pack your bags, you're going, you'd have said, absolutely, I'm on my way.
Absolutely.
So, again, your buddy stepped in and did what he could. So, again, kudos to all those people up there that really gave it their all. The more than 3,000?
2,997 deaths, to include the 343 firefighters. 60 paramedics.
It was something.
104 police officers?
I think so.
I can't remember. I'll have to look and see like that. I know 60 paramedics, 300.
Which brings it over 3,000, right?
Oh, yeah, yes.
So 3,300.
Yeah, and then and it's interesting because one individual that people always seem to forget, and I think it's worth noting. There was, as part of the FDNY, what's called a fire patrol. They were basically volunteers, but they were compensated, and they served as almost like a security type thing like that for the fire department. They worked with police and fire, and there was one member of the fire patrol who died. He's not counted as a New York City firefighter, so it's not 300. It's not 344. It's 343. But technically, there was 344 members of the FDNY who passed away. But it was 343 firefighters and 1 member of the fire patrol.
Wow, excellent report. Yeah. So again, as we're celebrating the and I don't want to as we remember 20 years ago, 9/11, a horrific day. David, I was again at a TV when the Oklahoma City bombings occurred.
Wow.
Right.
And I couldn't believe that. You know what I mean? And then years later, I have to witness what I witnessed there on, you know what I mean, on September 11, 2001. But now, that was domestic terrorism at its best with the Oklahoma City bombings. I didn't think that people, and maybe this is the naiveness of all of us, I didn't think that our own people, no matter who you liked or who you didn't like, would turn on American citizens. But you know what? Happens each and every day.
It does.
Happens each and every day. And that right there, if you don't believe that, just go back and watch some of that footage of the Oklahoma City bombings.
They're planning it right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. And some things are in the works. The Taliban, hey, back it up and rising, like Byron said, the resurgence of them. Don't think Iran and Iraq, ISIS, maybe starts forming themselves back up. Al-Qaeda, you're hearing that again.
We're a country of freedom, which makes us somewhat of a soft target.
Yeah.
See, and I have a concern about this
So
because it carries on. For example, I don't know if you heard about this one. Do you remember Nidal Hassan?
Mm-hmm.
That name sounds familiar, yeah.
He was the Fort Hood shooter. Remember?
Yes.
He went
In Texas, El Paso.
In Texas. He was a U.S. Army major. He was a
Right.
psychiatrist, and he opened fire and assassinated a number of military members in Fort Hood, Texas. He, from his prison cell, congratulated the Taliban on getting the U.S. out of Afghanistan. So there is no telling.
Member of our I don't even want to call it former member of our military, because that piece of garbage right there, I don't even consider he ever served. To be honest with you.
He was a terrorist.
How he made major,
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's
Yeah, I'd like to know how that happened, but anyway, that's a piece of garbage right there from his own prison cell to congratulate the Taliban for taking over Afghanistan and running the U.S. out of there.
Well,
So that guy right
left. They
there,
didn't run
and
us out.
I'm glad Mike brought him up, because that guy is irrelevant to me.
That's true.
correct.
Two other things real quick here. Byron, just so you know, a strong storm, not a severe thunderstorm, but a strong storm south of Tallahassee is moving towards the northwest, towards the northeast rather. So yes, the rain delay for the FSU game should be lifted if it hasn't already.
Yep,
That's the thing. Just giving you a heads up on that one. Secondly, for those of you that keep up with local politics, that sort of thing like that, Tommy Hazouri, the former mayor of Jacksonville, has passed away earlier this afternoon. At the age of 76, complications due to a lung transplant he had last year.
Right.
He had been moved to hospice care several days earlier. So for those of you that are familiar with Jacksonville politics and Jacksonville history, Tommy Hazouri, the former mayor, has died at the age of 76.
Ricky Autistic is on. Jeff Goins is on. Byron Bagwell says, never forget, and we won't. As long as we're doing this show, we won't forget. We'll keep doing this tribute each and every year. That's right. And, hey, we, even in our prayers, it doesn't matter who's praying. If it's Mike, if it's Byron, if it's Mitchell, if it's you, Dave, we always, think about our first responders, right, our military personnel, just this great country, our government. So we're never, ever going to forget, and other people shouldn't either. I know we've got our own stuff that's going on inside, domestic, if you want to call it, inside our own self. But when things like this happen, and it's unfortunate, because I've heard y'all say this, that's when America seems to unite. Forget about color. Forget about religion. Forget about race. Forget about all that stuff. We come together for the what? For the cause. And I hate, Mike, I wish we could do this each and every day, but it usually takes a disaster, usually takes something that happens that is just open wide-eyed to the to American people for us to be able to come together. And I tell you, I don't know what it's going to take, but we should be doing this each and every day.
Well, and I'll tell you straight up. Now, there are several days that are important to me in history.
Right.
You know, some of them was kind of like, kind of sad, like
sure,
the passing of family members.
Yes.
And of course, what happened last week.
Right.
Everything that happened like that.
Right.
So like there's like April 25th. That's my granddaughter's birthday.
Right.
September 16th is my son's birthday.
Right.
And I could go on with, and of course Brittany, my daughter, and all that one. But I will tell you, one of the most memorable dates that sticks in my mind was September 12th of 2001.
And I know why you said that.
Because I'm telling you, you have never seen a country united as we did on September 12th of 2001.
I would have dared, like Michael said, anybody to come in here that day from the outside coming in here. I'm sorry, would have been destroyed quickly. Yeah. That's how united we were. It didn't matter. You know what I seen? And I know you've seen this too, or you heard about it. I've seen gang members. I've seen different people come out and helping.
Yeah.
When you would think, you know what I mean? That
we were united.
That's it.
Yeah.
Exactly
It didn't matter if you was a gang member. It didn't matter if you was this or that. It was a united front to do what? To take and handle this business.
Yeah.
And again, as Byron has said on many shows, somehow we have lost focus of that. And we need to get that focus back.
Agreed.
And I don't want it to be during disaster time.
No.
We have to figure out how to do this now while we still have a great country. I know there's some things, and I'm going to let Byron get into that on Tuesday nights, but there's some things that's happening in this country right now today as we speak that doesn't bode well for the American people, and I'm going to leave it at that because, like I said, that's Byron's deal. Yeah. But anyway, we just need to come together as a country, and it shouldn't take a disaster to do that. Just want to read a couple of comments, and we'll shut her down.
Okay.
Sharon Pepper said, "We tuned in accidentally, very late because we did not expect you to be on until Tuesday." Talking about today, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, Sharon, we really was a last minute thing because we didn't know who was going to be available. And I didn't know Mr. Bagwell wasn't feeling well, so I knew he wasn't going to be here. I knew Mr. Gunner was going to be at the racetrack. But I called Dave and Michael, and they was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, 9/11.
So it was 9/11. So it just happened really quickly. So I know you like to tune in. Want to apologize maybe for not giving that little, little heads up. But we didn't really know it until today, really.
Not really, yeah.
So... Edward Pettiprin says, a good book about what happened after is named 12 Strong.
Yes.
This was our special forces responding in Afghanistan.
It's a great book. If you haven't had the chance to read that,
yeah,
it's amazing. Another book that is that tells a lot of the internal stories from a public safety standpoint is called Report from Ground Zero. It's written by Dennis Smith.
Mm-hmm.
He is the author of Report from Engine Company 82, for those of you that are into fighting books like me.
Like him.
But like me. But anyway, it's a very personal thing because he speaks to survivors and he speaks to responders and those that were closest to Father Judge, who was the chaplain. He's recorded as the first death from 9/11, as well as the fire commissioners and so it's a very unique perspective on that one. So 12 Strong, Report from Ground Zero, several other books. Check them out if you want to get a different perspective on the events of that day.
Jonathan Davis is watching. Renee says, like most families, we may fight like cats and dogs at home, but whoa, be unto anyone who tries to take us all on in public.
That's right. Exactly.
Oh, she's got that right.
Exactly right.
So, Randy Brooks is on. Sheriff Pettiford says, I'm just glad that you were on. I can go back and watch what I missed later. And that's absolutely right. You can. You can catch it on Facebook Live right after. And, of course, Austin Stevens. I want to, and I want to take a couple of minutes to do that. I know Austin's not always here. Mike fills in for him quite a bit. Austin's still a student. Got a lot of things going on. But I want to thank Austin Stevens for keeping up with the YouTube. That's one less thing that we all have to do because everybody has an important part on this show. A lot of extensive things that go on behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen, that y'all don't really see or know. So I want to thank Austin Stevens for keeping up with that YouTube. Yeah. He does a wonderful job. Austin, can't do it without you, brother. Thank you for putting that stuff on YouTube, all these shows. Love you. It ain't forgotten. So I wanted to give you kudos and props for what you do for this show. And behind the scenes is more important than in front of the scenes. Sure. And he does a great job with some of the stuff that he does. Byron says, Americans need to learn the lesson of the Star-Spangled Banner again. Yes, I agree. So, and Sheriff said, thank you, Austin. Mike, real quick, weather.
Okay, so, a couple of things real quick here. Okay. Tuesday night, make sure you join us. Several big things that we're going to talk about. Don't forget, Tuesday night, we'll be giving you the answer to Thursday Night Team Trivia at the Downtown Grill.
Yep.
Make sure you tune in for that one. Of course, What's the Date, everyone's favorite segment. We'll also be drawing the name of our winner for the August What's the Date answers, so we'll be taking care of that one. Just a real quick wrap up on the weather. Pollen count staying on a scale of 1 to 12. It's going to be 8.4, 8.6 as we go on. But the numbers will start to drop off as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. Why is that? Well, let me tell you why that's going to happen.
I'll say that.
Starting tomorrow, highs in the 80s. As we stretch Monday, we top back into the 90s. But we're looking at about a 20% chance of rain thereabouts as we go along. Chance of rain kicks up Tuesday into Wednesday. Wednesday, we're looking at an increased chance of 60% chance of rain. Friday, same thing. If you're going to the football game Friday night, bring a poncho, be ready. You're looking at some afternoon showers and storms rolling through. Temperatures are going to be in the upper 80s all the way through the rest of this week. And you're going to be looking at lows, seasonal, 71, 72 degrees, thereabouts. And you could see showers breaking out at any time in the afternoon, about after 2 p.m. Just expect it. We're still in that summertime pattern, even though we're in September. We will start seeing a little bit of a break, though. Come October, we're going to start getting some of those cooler breezes blowing in here. Yep. Chances of rain are going to start dropping off here. We'll start getting to our dry season. And hopefully, with the change of the seasons, that will bring out a little bit of a respite when it comes to the pollen.
Good deal. Thank you, Mike, for that weather report. Also want to thank you for filling in. Dave, got something? I
just wanted to say for all you folks that are having a hard time getting a haircut through the week because of your work schedule, Harry Business is open Sunday from 11 to 4 and Monday 9 to 5. We're open 7 days a week, so come on in and we'll just take care of you.
Yeah. And David, you beat me to the punch again. Yes. Hey, great guys over there and gals. Go over there and visit if you need a haircut. David Theus, you beat me right to the punch. So Byron says, praise the Lord, or let it rain. David Theus, yes. Wanted to get this out earlier, not take away from 9/11 conversation. Congratulations, Bradford Tornadoes, which I did mention, on a great win over Clay, Class 5A Clay, 24-13 last night. Tornadoes handle business. First complete game that I've seen them play all year long. They had some flashes in that Baker game when they come back in 28-18. Who just got destroyed over at Union County. Let's forget about that game right now. That game is in the rearview mirror. But they came back, got a win. Now a tough University Christian team is going to come in here, same size as all these guys. The Tornadoes just need to come out there, play like they did, put that game plan together again. Let's go out and get another win. Now we're 2-2, and let's keep this home winning streak alive. We got 4 games straight in a row here.
Well, Dave, I gotta give you a pat on the back. I was not able to go to the game this Friday, but I was able to listen to you explain it. on the radio, WEAG 106.3.
Right.
And the way you put it out on the radio, man, just gives me a clear view of how that game has been laid out and how it's played and how the players are playing, and our offense and our defense is putting out this past Friday. So thank you for what you do there.
Well, I appreciate that, gentlemen, and absolutely, you know, when you're on radio, because you're not there, so I need to paint that picture for you. Mm-hmm. So does Kevin as well. We're just trying to paint that picture for you, and to break it down, you know.
Yeah, you and Kevin work really well.
Really well. We break that down, and we try to give you the play as it happens. Do we make mistakes? Absolutely, we make them all the time. But for the most part, yeah, we try to paint that picture. So yeah, if you can't be at the game, you definitely can tune in to WAG Eagle Country 106.3 FM and tune into the ball game. Vincent Tucker, yes, thank you for joining us. We're getting ready to go off, but hey, Z and Tuck, Thursday nights?
Thursday nights.
10:30 out there, 7:30 their time. They got a great show as well. You can tune in to Z and Tuck with Vincent D. Tucker and Z Zamaya as your host. Mm-hmm. They've got a new thing that they're doing now with Ray J, and there's a couple others there that's doing some interviews with them as well. So tune into their show as well. Absolutely. Shirley Bagwell, Mitchell Gunner, thank you again for joining us. Great football Saturday. Tribute to 9/11. This thing's going to keep flying, gentlemen, long after we're gone. I believe it. Don't you?
Absolutely. Yep.
This right here is going to be flying right here. As long as we've got our military intact and we're doing the right things, this thing is going to keep flying. People have given the ultimate sacrifice for this beautiful flag right here and this beautiful country. And I love each and every one of them. So do you, Mike. I know. So does Dave. We want to just thank all our military service members, men and women, past and present, first responders, past and present, all those that sacrificed all that horrible day 20 years ago. Hey, we think about you all the time, and hopefully that horrific incident, Michael, never, ever happens again on U.S. soil.
Absolutely right.
Want to take real quick the fires that are going out west. Please keep those people in your prayers. And, of course, Hurricane Ida that ripped through the Gulf Coast.
Absolutely.
I know, y'all, there's people still without power. They say they could be upwards to a month. So, please take care of yourselves. Stay out of harm's way. Hey, power line's down. Like Michael says, get away from that thing. Just leave it alone. Somebody's going to take care of that for you. Hey, if you're still waiting through waters, I think the waters might now have receded a little bit.
The waters have receded, but yeah, you still...
Watch out for the alligators. There's alligators
everywhere.
Yeah, there's all kinds. So stay away from all that. But we got y'all in our prayers as well. And Vincent Tucker says, yeah, thanks for the shout out for Hot Topics. Man, I just couldn't get it, Vincent. Hot Topics with Z and Truck. Hey, Thursday nights at 10:30. Make sure you tune into their show. There you go. All right, guys. Thank you for joining in. God bless you guys. Tribute to 9/11. Hope you have a great, wonderful weekend. On behalf of Dave Holland, Mr. Michael Heater, the absent Byron Bagwell and Mitchell Gunner, and Austin Stevens, I'm David Rodgers, your host. God bless you guys. See you Tuesday night. Damn. It's a wrap.